Brigadier General Yusha'u Ahmed, the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps (NYSC), has called on the scheme's internal auditors to foster accountability and strengthen financial control systems. Speaking at the opening of the NYSC Internal Auditors Workshop in Abuja, Ahmed emphasized the need for adherence to ethical standards in financial practices to prevent mismanagement of funds and financial losses. Well represented by NYSC Director of Procurement, Brig Gen, Ahmed highlighted the importance of effective internal financial controls in maintaining the credibility and public trust of the NYSC. He stressed that weak controls could have severe consequences, including damage to scheme's reputation and progress. He urged the auditors to play their critical role in ensuring financial integrity and governance within the scheme. Let's get your thoughts on accountability, especially when we talk about the NYSC.
Accountability and the NYSC. You know, for the Director General to come up to make this statement publicly, then I think there is a problem somewhere that he must have noticed, and it's something that we should pay attention to. The NYSC scheme is something that came up with a wonderful idea. The idea of the NYSC to some extent has been defeated, and
defeated? Why do you say so?
Has been defeated, yes, because of the challenges we have.
Which of the ideas now are you talking about of the NYSC?
One of the biggest ideas of the NYSC is to encourage knowledge of the different parts of the country and appreciate our, we are a diverse nation, but we are united. So to appreciate our unity in diversity. That was one of the scheme's ideal. Another ideal of the scheme was to encourage intertribal marriages so that people could explore and experience love in other parts of the country. And now we have so many challenges with this. There are a lot of calls for secession in the country. These people calling to break away, these other people calling to break away. You then see that it has become a global call. The call has gotten global attention. And then you see some parts of the country doesn't believe in Western education. Some part of the country is fighting against Western education. Some part of the country is... And then at the end of the day, you see core members being killed in so many parts of the country. And those things just go unpunished. We just hear that a bus carrying core members, this happened to it. What happened next? Whenever I hear a follow-up news that says the culprits were brought to book, people keep losing their lives in the name of experiencing diversity. So for me, the scheme's ideals have been defeated. In those days, as a core member, you are protected.
You're protected.
Once they see you with the uniform, even those who did not like you, would naturally say, they call you federal government Pekin.
Yes, communities will assist you, give you free houses, food products, and things like that.
Thank you.
But we still have it happening in some parts.
I agree totally. But to a large extent, these goals have been defeated. So when you come to accountability now, let me say a bit about accountability, especially with the Nigerian terrain. I have a question that I always want to ask when I meet them. Why is it that financial processes in this country, in the federal, state, local governments, and in parastatals, which includes the NYSC, still carry traditional formats of paper and writing? One of the ways to stall financial corruption is automating processes. When you automate a process, sir, we cannot change your signature. Now you have signed it. It's automated. It's automated. It has gone. When an email is going to pass through several copies, you copy HRO, you copy MD, you copy CTO, you copy CFO, you copy... Oga, will you start lobbying all of us to change what we are seeing in the figures? Even if you lobby these people, some people will say, I'm a Christian, I don't do this. I'm a Muslim, I believe in sincerity as a principle, honesty, trust. In my country has bestowed trust on me. So yes, one of the ways to promote accountability in this country that we must look at is the utilization of automated processes. And we have a lot of young people who have brilliant ideas on how to automate government financial policies or processes, sorry. But these things are not co-opted, they are not bought into. They still want to utilize the old method of carrying a file from one office to the next office, and that is why you have bureaucratic bottlenecks, and by the time it gets to this file from the
why do you think we're still doing the file thing?
It is because we want to aid corruption. There's no other answer to that. The reason why we still uphold the traditional system of carrying files from table to table when other countries have gone into automated financial systems.
Even in Nigeria, some sectors have.
Some sectors, especially the private sector.
Yes.
They are doing automated financial policies. But we still carry files because we still want to be able to change the figures. If you go to so many government settings, they don't do all these transfers, bank transfers. No, they give you cash. Because nobody can interpret where the cash passed. But if you give me a transfer, I can show you my bank statement. So these are the funny things to look at. When you talk about accountability, and I like to look at two sides of a story. Before our Director General has started shouting, it means that something is not getting well with him as well. It's possible that our Director General is not having his way through and is beginning to come down to shout. Because most times Nigerians know how to shout when they are not favored. That's the truth about Nigeria.
But at least a statement is being made about it, but and that's what's important.
That's why I applaud the DG.
He's already talking about being accountable.
And if he's talking about being accountable, then he is the DG. He should go through the appropriate channel of writing for an automated process in the NYSC. Let it be automated. Everything should be automated. And the same thing can be implemented in the federal government, state government, and local government tiers of government.
To an extent, the NYSC already has that. To an extent.
To an extent, Remita and all of those things.
Yes, but then the question I asked then was, after all of the registrations, with the system, where you had to go to the cyber cafe years back, and we had to finish up all of that, and then we traveled down to the States, and the same things I did in Port Harcourt, in my own state, you're asking me to still do that. So all of those registrations I did then, and all of those documents that I provided, who was it sent to? And who? Do you understand? We had to do the same things over and over again, but this time with physical documents, your papers, and all of that. And also talking about accountability, there's also this thing of knowing somebody and not knowing somebody. The other day, I saw a video from the NYSC camp, a particular NYSC camp just recently. They were making videos and saying that they sent them out. They asked them to go home, right? Now they've traveled from very far places, and they're asked to go home. And in fact, they had left, the way they chased them out of the rooms, those man-o-war guys, chased them out of the rooms. They had their luggages in the field, and they were all just crying. The person doing the video was actually crying.
Why were they asking them to go home?
She said without a reason. They just told them to leave the camp.
These were people who were shortlisted to be in camp?
Yes, they asked them all. It's not like they asked just a few people to. According to her statement, they've asked them all to leave the camp. And as she was doing that video, there were people behind, and they were all complaining, and she was actually crying. Now the question I'm asking is, why no explanation from her own? That's from her own side. There are always two sides to a particular story.
Definitely.
But definitely you're not going to sweep out the other side, because from every rumor they say there's always a truth. So talking about the scheme being, the aim of the scheme being defeated, now let's go back to that statement you made from the beginning. What do you think we can do moving forward? Is it to make sure that it is now no longer defeated, to make sure that the aim is being kept, or what do you recommend with, like you have said, the aim of the NYSC no longer being the focus?
You see, for me, if it is possible for everybody to serve in their state, it's fine. So look at now this case here. I'm trying to fathom. I've been thinking about what you just said. So some people came to camp, and these camps hold around 1,000 to 1,500 attendees, and then they're told, all of them, the whole camp is told to go back home. Now, many of these people who come for camp, a vast majority of them are from poor families. They manage their way to camp, hoping that when they're in camp, they will get that allowance in camp. Daily food and all those things that would, and the allowance that would even help them to go back to their PPA and probably commute themselves back to their place and all. And then now you tell them halfway to go back home without participating in the camping activities, without getting their payments and all of those things. So how does that sound? I'm trying to understand it, because they go back home to where? The unsafe roads.
Even if they get their payments, even if they give them their allowance for that month, which they usually do in camps, is that really enough to actually take some people back? And aside that, you know, the treatment also matters. These are people that have been, you know, these are graduates, let's even start from there, that have been sent in from different parts to serve their fatherland.
For me, just make people.
So what do you think? What do you think? Okay, so people should just serve in their states instead of traveling out,
or if possible, cross-post them within their geopolitical zone. Maybe I'm too used to Port Harcourt. Send me to Akwa Ibom to go and serve. Send me to Cross River. It's also a means of.
We should also look at security in some of these
That was my
states.
first point.
We should also look at.
That was my first point. With the issues of the insurgents in places like Borno, which the governor is doing a lot. Professor Zulum is doing a lot to fight, to combat. We're also made to believe that the federal government is also supporting the state government and the wonderful efforts of our gallant men. Some of those places should no longer accept.
They should not even send people.
Exactly.
You know, recently we saw a story where people were complaining that they were still sending youth corps members to particular states that had.
They are even sending them to LGAs.
Security.
They are sending. When you say sending them to states, it's like a vast statement. They are still sending them to LGAs where locals are even vacating. They are posting them to those LGAs. This is to tell you that if I must lose my life in a scheme that you say is meant to make Nigeria better, then it is effort. It is a futile.
So these things. So you're saying these things should be considered when posting youth corps members.
Security should be considered.
All right.
All of these things should be put in place. These factors should be
All
considered.
Right.